Hello students, in yesterday's lecture, in this lesson respiration and circulation, last point was we were discussing about the partial pressure of oxygen at various location. I am going to continue that point, and now partial pressure of CO2 at various location we are going to learn, and after that we will start next point. So see, partial pressure of carbon dioxide in atmosphere, you can see that partial pressure of CO2 in the atmosphere is 0.3 mm of Hg. After that, from atmosphere air enters into the lungs. So second you have to remember about the alveoli. So in alveoli, partial pressure of CO2 is 40 mm of Hg. Now blood coming towards the alveoli, it is deoxygenated blood, and in the deoxygenated blood, partial pressure of CO2 is 45. Whatever blood exiting through this alveoli or coming out from the lung, that blood is oxygenated blood, and that oxygenated blood which contain partial pressure of CO2 is 40, and finally in tissue partial pressure of CO2 is 45. So you can see that from alveoli, in alveoli it is 40, in deoxygenated blood it is 45, once again in oxygenated blood it is 40, and in tissue again 45. So it is easy to remember 40, 45, 40, 45. Just remember the partial pressure of CO2 in the atmosphere. So you, in this way you can remember this point. Partial pressure of CO2 in atmosphere is 0.3, alveoli 40, deoxygenated blood 45, oxygenated blood 40, and again in tissue 45. All these values have unit mm of Hg, and with this point we have completed our second point, that is external respiration or exchange of gases at alveolar level. So we were discussing mechanism of respiration, and in mechanism of respiration there are 3 points. One is breathing, another is external respiration, and now third point is internal respiration. Now we are going to start that point, internal respiration. Okay, so in mechanism of respiration there are main 4 steps. I have told you in previous lecture. So first step is breathing, second step is internal respiration, and third step is external respiration, and last one is cellular respiration. So we have completed breathing. Next we have completed external respiration. Now we are going to start internal respiration. So see, in breathing you have learned inspiration and expiration. In inspiration, diaphragm and intercostal muscles play very important role while taking gases inside the body or giving out of the body. So that we learn in breathing. Second point was external respiration. In external respiration, we learn how exchange of gases take place in between alveoli and blood, and for that exchange of gases, 2 important points which affect on the exchange of gas. So first point affect is the thickness of the membrane, alveolar membrane, and the blood capillary membrane. So that both two membrane together are called as respiratory membrane. So thickness of that respiratory membrane is very important in exchange of gas. And second point important is the solubility of the gases. Solubility of gases, that is solubility of O2 and solubility of CO2. And third, which is most important, is partial pressure of that particular gas. So partial pressure of oxygen and partial pressure of carbon dioxide and gases always move from higher partial pressure towards the lower partial pressure of that particular gas. So this we learn in the external respiration. So remember that chart of partial pressure which is given in the NCERT. So till this point we have completed. Now next, which is also very important point, internal respiration, that we are going to start. So see carefully, in internal respiration what we are going to learn. So in internal respiration there is transport of 2 gases. One is CO2 and another is O2. So these 2 gases are transported. Now these gases are transported through the blood. So while passing through the blood, there are various mechanisms to transport the oxygen or to transport the carbon dioxide. So out of these 2, first we are going to learn how oxygen is going to be transported from lung to each and every tissue. So repeat once again, I am discussing with you, that is internal respiration. It is third point of respiration mechanism. In internal respiration, what we are going to learn? we are going to learn transport of two gases, carbon dioxide and oxygen. So these gases are transported through the blood, and there are various methods to transport these gases. So first we are going to learn how oxygen is transported. So next is transport of oxygen. So in transport of oxygen, they have given out of total oxygen, whatever we inhale, out of that total oxygen, 97% oxygen bind with the hemoglobin and only 3% oxygen get dissolved in the plasma. So remember students, there are two ways to transport the oxygen. First way, in that way oxygen bind to the hemoglobin, and in second way it get dissolved in the plasma. So these are the two ways to transport the oxygen from alveoli towards the tissue. So first is binding with the hemoglobin. So what is that? So remember this percentage, it is important because many times question is asked for the need on this percentage. So how much oxygen is transported with hemoglobin, and various options are given. So you have to remember 97% oxygen is transported along with hemoglobin, and only 3% oxygen get dissolved in the plasma and transported in that way. So next is binding with hemoglobin. So with hemoglobin, what is hemoglobin? Hemoglobin, it is a respiratory pigment. Respiratory because it is going to transport the gases, and pigment because it gives color to the blood. Hence it is respiratory pigment. So in hemoglobin, first of all, hemoglobin, all of you know, it is present in the RBC. There are three blood cells in our blood: RBC, WBCs and platelets. So out of which RBCs contain this hemoglobin. Now this hemoglobin, you must know or you will learn detail about the hemoglobin in next topic. But before that, hemoglobin contain 4 polypeptide chain. So you have learned, I think you have learned in biochemistry. So in that you have learned that there are 4 polypeptide chain in the hemoglobin, and there are 4 iron Fe++ molecule in one hemoglobin. Once again I repeat, there are 4 Fe++ in one hemoglobin. So this information is given in the state board, not in NCERT. So just remember, one molecule of hemoglobin contain 4 Fe++, 4 molecules of Fe++ in this way. Now see, one molecule of Fe++ can bind one molecule of oxygen. See, there are 4 Fe++, means there are 4 oxygen molecule. 4 oxygen molecule can bind to this hemoglobin, and by binding with hemoglobin they can be transported from alveoli to the tissue. So you have to remember, first way we are discussing, that is oxygen is transported along with hemoglobin. So what is hemoglobin? Hemoglobin is respiratory pigment. Why respiratory pigment? Because it carries gases, hence it is respiratory. Not only oxygen, it can also carry carbon dioxide, hence respiratory. And pigment because it gives color. Next, hemoglobin molecule. That hemoglobin, it is present in the RBCs. RBC is blood cell, and within that RBC this hemoglobin is present. Now hemoglobin molecule, it is protein molecule, and in that proteinaceous molecule iron molecules are present. So in one hemoglobin 4 Fe++ are present, and one Fe+ can bind to the one oxygen molecule. So in this way you can calculate one hemoglobin at a time can carry 4 molecules of the oxygen from one place to another place. Now one more thing, you have to remember the name of complex. So see, in lungs there are alveoli. When we inhale the air, oxygen comes inside the lungs. So that oxygen, when bind with the hemoglobin, this is hemoglobin. One hemoglobin can bind to 4 oxygen, hence 4O2. So when Hb combined with 4O2, we get Hb4O2. So this complex is called as oxyhemoglobin. So you have to remember this name, oxyhemoglobin. So when hemoglobin bind with oxygen, it is called as oxyhemoglobin. So it get bind to the, now see, hemoglobin bind to the oxygen at lung level, but when hemoglobin bind to the oxygen, we get oxyhemoglobin. Now this oxyhemoglobin is transported towards the tissue. Now what happen in tissue? At tissue level, that oxyhemoglobin should break and the oxygen molecule should be released within the or inside the tissue. So see how it will happen, that hemoglobin will bind to the oxygen at the lung level and it will dissociate at tissue level. म्हणजे काय सांगायचं बघा, हिमोग्लोबिन लंग लेवलला ऑक्सिजनला स्ट्रॉंगली बाइंड होईल, तिथं हाय ॲफिनिटी आहे, पण तोच जर टिश्यू लेवलला गेला तर तो डिसोसिएट होईल. सो असं कसं होऊ शकतं की तोच हिमोग्लोबिन मॉलिक्यूल आहे लंग लेवलला हाय ॲफिनिटी दाखवतोय आणि टिश्यू लेवलला तिथे ॲफिनिटी नाही, असं होणार नाही. तिथेही ॲफिनिटी असेल, मग त्याला बाइंड झालेला ऑक्सिजन मॉलिक्यूल तो रिलीज करेल का? तिथं करणार नाही. आणि जर हिमोग्लोबिनने ऑक्सिजनचा मॉलिक्यूल रिलीज केलाच नाही तर तो कोणाला अटॅच राहील? हिमोग्लोबिनला अटॅच राहील. सो सेलच्या आतमध्ये रिलीज होणार नाही आणि त्याचा काही यूज सुद्धा होणार नाही. सो hemoglobin should bind to the oxygen at lung level and it should dissociate at tissue level and should release the oxygen molecule inside the cell. So how this happen? So this happen because of other various factors. So there are, this hemoglobin molecule has strong affinity for oxygen, but this attraction, this binding of hemoglobin and oxygen is affected by various factors. So there are 4 factors which are given. So which are the 4 factors that we are going to learn. So before starting that point, once again repeat, we are discussing third point, internal respiration. In internal respiration there is transport of carbon dioxide and oxygen through the blood. First we are discussing transport of oxygen. Oxygen is transported by 2 ways, out of which first way is along with the hemoglobin. It bind with hemoglobin and get transported. So out of the total oxygen inhaled, 97% oxygen is transported along with the hemoglobin and only 3% oxygen get dissolved in the plasma. Now along with hemoglobin, so some about information about the hemoglobin they have given. It is respiratory pigment, it is present inside the RBC, it is polypeptide, it is made up of 4 polypeptide chain. In one hemoglobin molecule there are 4 Fe++ molecule. Now there is high affinity in between hemoglobin and oxygen. Okay, so one Fe++ can bind one molecule of oxygen. So in this way one hemoglobin, because one hemoglobin contains 4 Fe++, one Fe bind to one O2. If there are 4 Fe, it means they are going to bind 4 molecules of oxygen. So there are 2 levels, 2 locations at which we are going to learn how it bind to the hemoglobin and how it dissociate from the hemoglobin. So in the lungs, oxygen should bind to the hemoglobin, and at tissue that oxygen should get dissociated from the hemoglobin. So how this happen, that we are going to learn. So in lung, when hemoglobin binds with oxygen, we get oxyhemoglobin. Now that oxyhemoglobin is transported towards the tissue. Now in the tissue, that oxyhemoglobin get dissociated and oxygen molecules are released in the cell. So I have told you that binding of hemoglobin and oxygen and dissociation of oxyhemoglobin depends on various factors. So what are those factors? See, so factors affecting binding of O2 with hemoglobin. Now various factors which are affecting binding of O2 and hemoglobin. So in that, first factor which is most important is partial pressure of oxygen. So partial pressure of oxygen, if there is high partial pressure of oxygen, obviously there will be high affinity in between hemoglobin and oxygen and their binding will take place. Now second factor is partial pressure of carbon dioxide. Next one is H+ ion concentration. Next is temperature, and last one is DPG. Okay, so these are the various factors. Only this factor is extra, which is given in the state board, not in NCERT. In NCERT, only these 4 factors are explained. So how these factors affect? See, one is partial pressure of O2. It is most important. See, there are 2 locations where we are going to learn, in lung and in tissue. So see, in lungs. So in lungs, partial pressure of oxygen is very high. Partial pressure of oxygen is high. Therefore, affinity in between hemoglobin and oxygen is also very high. Now, other factor which are responsible is that partial pressure of CO2. If partial pressure of CO2 is high, then affinity of hemoglobin and oxygen will become low. But if partial pressure of CO2 is low, then strong binding in between hemoglobin and oxygen. So in the lung, partial pressure of O2 is high, partial pressure of CO2 is low within the lung. Next, H plus ion concentration. So in our blood, by various ways, H plus ions are dissociated. Now all of you know, because of H plus, pH of the blood can change. So this H plus, if increased, blood will become acidic. So that H plus ion concentration also affect on the binding of hemoglobin and the oxygen. See, in the lung level, H plus ion concentration is very low. Temperature within the lung, it is also low. So these factors are favorable for binding of hemoglobin and oxygen, for formation of oxyhemoglobin complex. So which factors are favorable? Within the lung, partial pressure of oxygen is high, partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low, H plus ion concentration is low, and temperature is also low. So if these factors are there, then this condition is favorable for formation of hemoglobin and oxygen complex. But what happens? So see, these factors are there in the lungs, therefore there is binding of hemoglobin and oxygen, and we get oxyhemoglobin complex. Now what happens in tissue? See, in tissue there is low concentration of or low partial pressure of the oxygen. So in the tissue, oxygen is utilized for the various activity, for various cellular work. Because of that, partial pressure of oxygen is low in the tissue. Now partial pressure of CO2 is high. Partial pressure of CO2 is high because of various activity. Carbon dioxide is produced there. Therefore, concentration of CO2 is high. H plus ion concentration is also high due to various metabolic activity, and temperature is also high. Now, condition become opposite as compared to the lung, and these conditions are favorable for breaking of hemoglobin and oxygen complex. So, hemoglobin and oxygen get dissociated from each other due to this factor. So, first our doubt or question was that Hb and oxygen have very high affinity. If there is high affinity, oxygen will remain attached to the hemoglobin and will not get dissociated from it. If it is not get dissociated, it cannot be utilized by the cell. So hemoglobin should bind oxygen at some place and it should get dissociated from oxygen at some place. So how it happens? It happens due to various factors. Various factor affects the binding of hemoglobin and the oxygen. So which factors affect? First one is partial pressure of O2. Second one is partial pressure of CO2. Next is H plus ion concentration, and last one is temperature. In the lung level, partial pressure of oxygen is high, partial pressure of CO2 is low, H plus ion concentration is also low, and temperature is also low. So these factors are favorable for formation of oxyhemoglobin complex. It means for binding of oxygen with the hemoglobin. But when this oxyhemoglobin reach towards the tissue, within the tissue opposite condition are there. It means in tissue partial pressure of oxygen is low, partial pressure of CO2 is high, H plus ion concentration is high, and temperature is also high. Due to all these factors, oxyhemoglobin complex break or dissociate and oxygen is released from the hemoglobin. So in this way, these are the various factors affecting on the formation of oxyhemoglobin and dissociation of the oxyhemoglobin. Now next, one more extra point they have given in the state board. See, they have given that when partial pressure of O2 when partial pressure of O2 is 100 mmHg, then 97% saturation or oxyhemoglobin formation take place. Okay, and now when partial pressure of O2 is 30 mm of Hg, then 50% saturation of hemoglobin take place. Now what is meant by saturation? All of you know, one hemoglobin can bind to how many oxygen molecule? 4 oxygen molecule, because one hemoglobin contain 4 Fe+. When one hemoglobin get attached to the one oxygen molecule, it means there are 3 places vacant which can bind to the oxygen. If second molecule get attached, now 2 more places are vacant. Third, fourth, when all 4 oxygen molecule get bind to the hemoglobin, then it get saturated. So all oxygen get saturated when partial pressure of oxygen is 100 mm of Hg. 50% saturation take place when there is 30 mm of Hg, partial pressure of oxygen. So this information given in the state board. So remember this. And one more thing, they have given DPG, diphosphoglycerate, 2,3-diphosphoglycerate. 2,3-diphosphoglycerate, it is one compound forming during glycolysis, and that compound also affect the formation of oxyhemoglobin. So this is about the various factors which affect the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Now in NCERT they have given one graph which is also called as oxygen dissociation curve. So it is very important for NEET point of view. So what is that curve? See, so x-axis, y-axis, and they have given on x-axis partial pressure of O2 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Okay, so this is partial pressure of O2, and on y-axis they have given 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. Percent saturation of hemoglobin, percent saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen. So see, this curve is oxygen dissociation curve. Shape of that curve is sigmoid. So on x-axis they have given partial pressure of O2, and on y-axis they have given percent saturation of the hemoglobin with oxygen. See, if initially there is 0% oxygen or 0 partial pressure of oxygen, then there will be no binding of hemoglobin and oxygen. As you go further, if partial pressure of O2 increases up to 20, then binding of the hemoglobin and oxygen will also increase. As partial pressure of oxygen goes on increasing, saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen also goes on increasing. Okay, so in this way it goes on increasing, but after some time you can see the plateau. It means that saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen increases as partial pressure increases, but up to certain limit. After that limit, if you increase partial pressure of oxygen, then there is no difference in the saturation of hemoglobin with the oxygen, because if hemoglobin gets saturated with oxygen, further if you increase the oxygen molecule concentration, then also it will not affect on the saturation. काय दिलेलं बघा, हा कर्व समजणं गरजेचं आहे. याला म्हटलं जातं ऑक्सिजन डिसोसिएशन कर्व. ऑक्सिजन डिसोसिएशन कर्व मध्ये एक्स ॲक्सिस आणि वाय ॲक्सिस वरती काय दिलेलं आहे? एक्स ॲक्सिस वरती पार्शियल प्रेशर ऑफ ऑक्सिजन आणि वाय ॲक्सिस वरती percent saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen. ॲज पार्शियल प्रेशर इन्क्रीजेस, ऑक्सिजनचं पार्शियल प्रेशर जसं वाढत जातं तसं हिमोग्लोबिनचं सॅच्युरेशन सुद्धा वाढत जातं आणि आपल्याला या टाईपची कर्व जी आहे ती मिळते आणि याला सिग्मॉइड कर्व असं म्हटलं जातं. काही लिमिट नंतर तिथं प्लॅट्यू येतोय. ओके, तिथून पुढे तुम्ही ऑक्सिजनचं पार्शियल प्रेशर कितीही इन्क्रीज केलं तरी हिमोग्लोबिनचं फर्दर सॅच्युरेशन होणार नाही, कारण एक हिमोग्लोबिन मॅक्झिमम 4 ऑक्सिजन मॉलिक्युल्सना बाइंड होऊ शकतो. त्याच्या पुढे किती जरी तुम्ही एकदा 4ही ऑक्सिजन मॉलिक्युल बाइंड झाले, पुढे तुम्ही कितीही ऑक्सिजन कॉन्सन्ट्रेशन वाढवलं तरी सुद्धा त्याच्या सॅच्युरेशनमध्ये फरक पडत नाही. सो ही कर्व जी आहे ती तुम्हाला महत्त्वाची आणि NCERT मध्ये एक स्टेटमेंट दिलेले आहे दॅट दिस ऑक्सिजन डिसोसिएशन कर्व इज used to study effect of factors like partial pressure of CO2, H plus ion concentration on binding of O2 with Hb. So this oxygen dissociation curve is useful to study the effect of factor. Which factor? Partial pressure of carbon dioxide and H plus ion concentration on binding of hemoglobin with the oxygen. So this was about the oxygen dissociation curve, and we learned first point, that is transport of oxygen in internal respiration. So student, once again repeat, in internal respiration we are going to learn transport of two gases. One is oxygen and another is carbon dioxide. So till this point we have completed oxygen. In oxygen we learn there are two methods of transporting. One is binding with hemoglobin and another is in dissolved form. Binding with hemoglobin, in that we learn hemoglobin is a respiratory pigment present within the RBC. It contains 4 polypeptide chain. It contains 4 Fe++, 1 Fe++ bind with 1 oxygen molecule. So in this way one hemoglobin can carry 4 oxygen molecule. Now hemoglobin and oxygen when bind, that complex is called as oxyhemoglobin. Now oxyhemoglobin formation took place at lung and it dissociates at tissue. So how hemoglobin strongly bind with oxygen at lung and it get dissociate at tissue? So it depend on various factors. So once again repeat, which factor? First is partial pressure of oxygen, partial pressure of CO2, H plus ion concentration and temperature. You have to remember all these factors. So in lung, partial pressure of O2 is high, partial pressure of CO2 is low, H plus ion concentration is also low and temperature is also low. So these factors are favorable for the binding of oxygen with hemoglobin, that is formation of oxyhemoglobin. But in the tissue, partial pressure of oxygen is low, partial pressure of CO2 is high, temperature is high and H plus is also high. So these factors, due to this factor, hemoglobin, oxyhemoglobin complex get dissociated and oxygen is released. Now in state board extra point they have given, when partial pressure of O2 is 100 mmHg, then 97% saturation of hemoglobin take place. But when partial pressure of oxygen is 30 mmHg, then only 50% saturation of hemoglobin take place. Next we learn this curve. The name of this curve is oxygen dissociation curve. I repeat, its name is oxygen dissociation curve. You have to remember what is given on x-axis and what is given on y-axis. On x-axis there is partial pressure of O2 and on y-axis there is percent saturation of hemoglobin with oxygen. As partial pressure of O2 increases, percent saturation also increases, but up to certain limit. So this curve is used to study effect of factor like partial pressure of CO2 and H plus ion concentration on binding of O2 with the hemoglobin. Now only 3% oxygen get transported in the dissolved form. आपण जेवढा ऑक्सिजन इनहेल करतोय त्यातला फक्त 3% ऑक्सिजन डिझॉल्व्ड फॉर्म मध्ये ट्रान्सपोर्ट केला जातो. So till this point we have completed transport of the oxygen. Now in next lecture we are going to discuss about the transport of carbon dioxide. Thank you.